nice, quick, easy access to those two dungeons when they become available. Eastern immediately, and Pod once you've got Hammer and Dark World.
Well, it looks like we're off to a start here.
Uncle immediately giving us some foreboding text.
It's nice to see that we have two Zelda sprites. Two at least Zelda series sprites. I haven't seen that in quite a long time. There's hundreds of sprites out there now.
The uncle not entirely wrong by saying you're gonna have a bad time. Single arrow as soon as we start. Not an item you want right off the start.
And the bow. I'm gonna take the prize on this one.
Yep. So this is a really, really easy weapon to get to escape with. It gives you a lot of ammunition compared to how much you actually need to get through here. So we're probably going to see a decent amount of farming for bombs if they don't come early.
Unfortunately, picking up the bow does give you 30 arrows, which maxes your capacity and completely invalidates that single arrow value. Duke got his first bomb already, so he is set for the back of escape. Nothing else to worry about.
He'd like to see more if possible, but yeah, he's not concerned about having to double back here later. If he needs more, he can probably buy them in Kakariko. Early powder. That's a really nice safety to have. It's not a vital item most of the time, unless the magic bat has something and you're not familiar with fake powder. But not many people are going to argue about getting it.
Without having an early hammer, routing in an early magic bat check is impossible. So they'll get that at the same time they do hammer pegs. Having the ability to get fairies from anti-fairies, though, especially if this turns out to be a low health seed, is something that will be invaluable in the later dungeons. Fire Rod in the Vanilla Boomerang room is an excellent early find.
Unfortunately, unlike the one that Uncle gives you, this one does not come with a free full magic refill, but it's still a really, really good weapon once you get your magic up to reasonable values.
Fire Rod early is going to probably give them a little bit more incentive if they do decide to go to Eastern. They will be able to do that second dark room and light the torch, which is the most challenging dark room.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit to get used to navigating it in the dark. If you're lucky, you can stick the one Igor with an arrow before it wakes up. But lighting the room is definitely preferable.
Of course, we saw that both players did just pick up the power glove. So early gloves, definitely something that's nice to have. Avoid all those awkward situations of walking up to rocks and not being able to pick them up.
If they get the lamp, it'll also put Death Mountain in sequence, which a lot of people... Look, I just realized the silliness on the right side of the screen. Good job, me. Unfortunately, Death Mountain becomes usually more valuable once you've gotten the hook shot to check the eastern side. But sometimes there is something in... like the cave of Spectacle Rock, so...
I just want to point out, I've never seen this before. I love the Zelda leading a Zelda. This is just incredible.
Yep, that was the aforementioned silliness.
So as our players go through escape, they get a free light cone, but only for this sequence and only for this particular run. Any dark rooms after this point, they will need the actual lamp item in order to have illumination.
All right, approaching the. For most weapons, not really an issue, but if you ever roll bombs, the dreaded rat, I don't think we're going to have an issue with the bow, but.
And Duke successfully skewers the rat with his third arrow, and so does Toadette.
All right, what's the bag of escape got for us? Yeah.
Not a lot of value there. Something that it's still worth getting. You don't want to have to worry about coming back to that later on. Finding the map there will mean that there is one item that is left in Sanctuary for them to pick up before they're done in the escape sequence.
They did get a fair bit of value earlier, so they can't. You can't expect every chest to have something really, really good.
The glove, the bow, the fire rod, and the powder is an excellent position to be in heading out of the escape sequence. So I'm sure the runners are very happy.
All right, let's see if either of these two decide to head up and check the hoarder crab and the lumberjack cave. Looks like Duke is heading straight to the. Yeah, looks like he's heading straight to Skull Woods, and meanwhile, Toadette is heading up to the hoarder crab. Not checking the tree pull there, though.
So Duke shows us that the tier 3 tree pull is small magic pots. That's achieved by killing 4 or more enemies and taking damage. And he also finds his first sword by the mushroom spot.
So Toadette's not interested in what the hoarder crab has. She just threw a bush at it and... Alright, map check. Ah! Eastern and Hera are 5/6 crystals, and Desert is a crystal too, so... All three Light World dungeons are crystals this time. Which, admittedly, it's probably a little bit of confirmation bias, but V29 seems to have a tendency to lean towards.
Well, it's always nice to see those early crystals being the Light World. It gives you the chance of maybe getting lucky and being able to skip a Dark World dungeon altogether.
Especially if it's one of the longer ones that no one wants to actually do. Give me an unrequired Pendant Turtle Rock any day. So Duke is just hoping to find bombs in one of these chests rather than heading straight down. Oh, he doesn't even have the money to... Now he's up on it. Never mind. There we go. Flute!
That's an excellent place to find the flute, being able to activate it almost immediately.
Yeah, you can just walk straight out of Blind's hut, south a little bit, and get the duck.
Unfortunately, he's going to have to backtrack after purchasing some bombs in order to get that last item in Blind's basement.
Toadette initially walking past, but opting to also make the check for bombs. So the two of them are actually going to be on relative even terms here.
I'd love to see him activate the flute, go buy bombs, and then flute back to 3.
I mean, it would be a thing. I'm not sure if we're going to see that, but...
It's probably a little too early in the seed to start wasting time with silly things.
It's never too early to, waste time on silly things.
We did get a lumberjack check on Toadette's side. I didn't see what it was other than that it was not required progression. So while we still may require an Aghanim Tower completion for Dark World access, we will not require it to get that one progression item.
Yeah, they're not going to kill Aghanim just for bomb capacity. It's not worth it.
Oh,
Toadette is fluting back up to 3.
Toadette, I've never seen that. I have to thank you for it. You just made my day. This is definitely confirmation bias, but if commentators ask for something, it just seems to happen.
Well, unfortunately, Flute is really, really nice. Nobody's going to argue with getting it, but Kakariko not really giving anything else.
Surprisingly little money at this point in Kakariko. They're most likely going to have to backtrack at some point later to check the Bobble Vendor item.
Yeah, this is actually an oddly poor Kakariko. Normally you've got more than enough here because I think it's safe to say more often than not you pick up either enough big 20s to get it or at least one really, really big pile of money, but not this time.
Well, Voidburn, assuming that they don't find any progression that leads them in a significantly different direction, having the bow and the fire rod to make Eastern doable compared to the South Shore item density, where do you anticipate our runners will head?
I'm really, really not sure. I mean, the big choices are your standard South Shore and Eastern at this point. Eastern might be a bit of a sequence break depending on Lamp, but... Oh, the stun prize is full magic. But yeah, it's hard to tell where they're going to go at this point. It'll probably be the standard South Shore route. They're going to check the race game. There's nothing here. They're just going to flute straight over to 2. Not 2. What am I talking about? It's 2 to the left. It's 2 to the left. 2 actual 2 is the witch, but no one actually. Oh wow.
That's definitely an item. Cane of Samaria, worth finding early. Doesn't give them any progression at the moment, but it's one of those items that you don't want to have to look for later.
Full heart container early, so that's nice. Increase health a little bit.
So with only 4 hearts in green mail, it's definitely worth picking up a full heart.
Alright, Hoarder Crab's only having 5 arrows.
Duke is entering the Light World Hype Cave, the Mini Moldorm Cave, 5 items.
The mini Moldorms being very uncooperative with arrows.
They're difficult to hit with arrows. He does have the sword, so he can definitely do it the traditional way.
Nice hammer. And a bunch of money. So this guy clearly stole all of Kakariko's wealth and their construction tools.
That hammer's excellent progression. That only puts them a Moon Pearl away from full Dark World access.
Duke taking the shortcut to Ice Rod. I don't feel like walking. Duck, fly me over there. It's like 20 feet.
That's a good shortcut. You're going to need to do screen transition anyway.
Toadette heading up to Death Mountain, though. Oh, no, maybe not. Toadette having... Wow, dead rocks, please. And more money in Ice Rod Cave. All right, Toadette going eastern. Duke making a good exchange with the merchant.
Excellent. 300% return on investment from the bottle vendor.
You can tell he hasn't completed his training with King Zora yet.
A bottle vendor has made so much money off of so many other runners, it's time we get a little back.
Looks like Duke is grabbing the old man on Death Mountain to take him home.
The old man himself is a sequence break, but getting to Death Mountain is not, because he does have the flute. So unless this one particular item is progression, it shouldn't add any confusion.
A shield.
Very few people would consider that progression. Having this new starting point though, and a short health refill will give him a little bit of time savings whenever he does the save and quit.
Yeah, the only time shield upgrades are actually considered progression is if it's the only access to Laser Bridge on Turtle Rock, if I remember correctly. Which doesn't come up that often, given that there's also the Blue Cane and the Cape, which can give you the same access for one item instead of 3.
So Duke, he checked and he found a bomb upgrade in the cave there, and unfortunately that's as far as he can go on Death Mountain.
He's gonna go check Batman. Meanwhile, Toadette continues through Eastern Palace.
The game has been very generous with the bomb upgrade packs.
Unfortunately, you don't actually need that many of them. Wow, you can go from Batman to the Sick Kid now. We got a bee in a bottle.
Well, that is convenient timing. Toadette getting through the first dark room in Eastern, now officially sequence breaking the vanilla big key chest location.
Oh, I wonder if Duke's gonna sell the bee to the merchant.
Well, I don't know if the merchant has any money left. He already gave him 300 rupees.
Sick Kid's still not having anything. I'm sensing something at Agnes Cave.
Toadette making it through that dark room, unfortunately down to a single heart, is not going to be able to do the big key skip. Might have to clear out the enemies in this room.
And the bee has been sold. Another 100 rupees.
She will be able to powder one of those anti-fairies once she clears these enemies, though, so that will definitely get her back into a safe place.
I don't believe you can actually powder those ones even after they split.
I know you can't powder them until they split. And apparently you can't powder them after they split either. There is a drop down. She's lucky here, and yes, fortunately she made it through, and she will be able to get fairies from the
Boots
pot.
and Book at Sahasrara. So we are both very good runners and literate now.
Well, that's excellent value at Sasha's hut, and there's no doubt that Toadette will pick that up on her way out of Eastern as well. It looks like all the value is in the Eastern area, just not in the Eastern Palace.
Toadette did not check Sasrala already, just because she fluted to the portal access area.
Ooh, unfortunately, her engagements with those anti-fairies took all her magic, and she was not able to light the torch in that dark room.
I'm just gonna refill on health though. Just kind of slide along the wall and eventually get the pot and get through the door.
This is one of the more difficult dark rooms to do, especially in the light world dark rooms.
Oh, she picked up magic from somewhere. And the key has been spent, so I'm guessing they're probably about to get it upstairs. Yep, there we go.
Well done. Yeah, the top left small pot that you need to pick up in order to progress has the small magic pot.
Unfortunately, at that point, it's a little bit too late to actually give you what you need to get through the room. You're already away from the torches, and if you can pick that pot up, you're basically in the clear for getting out.
Just a great job of the red mimics, taking no damage there when cycling those.
And more bomb capacity upgrades.
Burst to the Armos fight, using a little bit non-standard positioning, but not having any trouble at all with it.
Alright, so she should be making her way over to Sazrala at this time and getting her boots and the book, which I feel might take her down to Desert, which is, again, a crystal and completable. Not completable. What am I talking about? I was like, she doesn't have a fire source. Yes, she does. She's got the bigger fire source.
Desert is definitely a good play. With the flute, they'll be able to get there immediately, so they don't even have to justify the long trip. Duke, on the left-hand side, he had sufficient health that he was able to do the big key skip and pick at that chest without having to kill the enemies. So he picked up a little bit of time there. And he still has his magic, so he'll be able to light a torch.
Yeah, he's gonna close the gap here pretty quickly. You know, if we find the mirror, we can actually complete all three of the light world dungeons before having proper dark world access.
I didn't notice initially which one of our runners found the stun prize, but I'm guessing it was Duke because he picked up the big magic, and Toadette did that dark room without magic.
Yeah, he tested it earlier when he was over at Kakwiko.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of where knowledge of that stun prize could be a game changer. Full magic is one of the best things you could find there.
I think the only way Moon Pearl can be on Ped is if all three pendants are light world dungeons. And I'm not even sure if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why that would be out of logic.
I don't think it would be, but the logic works in mysterious ways sometimes. So, oh yeah, definitely not in this seed. You can't expect you to do three different Dark World dungeons. Oh, speaking of Moon Pearl, hi.
Well, we were running low on places, so we had to find it soon.
So that's Dark World access for Toadette. She's got the hammer and the gloves, so she's got access to both sides easily. And Duke is going to get his relatively soon, too.
Duke's only a minute or so behind and following the same route, so no issues between the two players. This is the second round of the Swiss tournament. Swiss tournaments, as you progress, you're always matched with people that have the same ranking as you do. So you end up being matched with people that have relatively similar skill levels, but the initial first level or so, where it's completely random, you can see wide variances. But these runners appear to be fairly close in execution, which is always nice to see in a race.
There's something to be said for a bit more excitement as well in races where the runners do have similar mindsets and similar approaches to clearing the map. It doesn't lead to much divergence when the two are very close in how they run, but it definitely create. Oh no! Watch out, Toadette. It definitely does usually lead to particularly close races. So. All right, here comes Duke's Pearl.
Toadette has 6 fire shots remaining, which might be enough all by itself to kill animals if every shot lands. Excellent
does.
landmo. Very well done with Fire Rod.
And 50 rupees.
Well, Dark World access at this point most likely would be either a Skullwoods area check at the Fire Rod or a Hype Cave Southern area check. Both are equally good options. Interesting to see if we get our first divergence.
Skullwoods is a particularly nice check too, because between the sword and the fire rod, they can theoretically complete it. That being said, the moth is. I don't know many people who want to do Green Tunic 5-heart moth.
It's definitely a difficult fight, but checking that area for the items and then maybe coming back to finish the boss later is something that you do see quite frequently. The issue with going Southern Dark World is you without the mirror, you tend to leave a few spots behind.
Yeah, because you can't pick up the South of Grove. You can't pick up. Well, if you don't have Titans and Mirror, you've got the more complicated version of the Smith chain. All right, time for Duke's version of. Unfortunately, not quite as fast. Gonna switch to Hammer though.
So Toadette is taking the long way up to Death Mountain to rescue the old man, rather than floating up there. She will unfortunately find that there's no further progression once the old man has been unlocked, and since she's repeating the same steps that Duke already did, it should bring them pretty much in sync. She rescues the old man and picks up her little fighter shield.
Death Mountain being a lot more cooperative for her this time. Spin speed not being cooperative. Is Duke's going for fake flippers.
The fake flippers glitch allows him to jump off the ledge and swim without having flippers if he does a screen transition within 1 pixel of the edge of the screen. One of the more common tricks that people use in Randomizer to get some of these early items.
It's my personal favorite trick that's in common use. Unfortunately, it's a little bit dangerous because any hit will instantaneously kill you. It used to be soft lock, but they changed that.
Now, if Duke finds anything, this is a sequence break. So anytime you sequence break, if you find items, that does make it a little bit more complicated for you to track where things could be.
It may or may not, depending on what's in Swamp Palace, be a relatively harmless sequence break, though, because Swamp Palace is a green pendant, so if there's no items in it or on that pendant, and Ice Palace doesn't actually require them to finish the dungeon, just get to it, so you can actually fake flippers that too.
I'm interested in whether he was planning on trying to do ice. He jumped up there. Looked like he wanted to go in.
Unfortunately, no Titans mids yet. Alright, Toadette in Skullwoods, going for the available place rather than the technical sequence break. Lighting the Gibdo on fire, not putting up with it. Alright, Fairy, what are you giving us today? Can we get bees? Wow, okay, that's kind of questionable.
That's a little bit cruel, I would think. Imprisoning a sibling?
Fairy Queen, why are you imprisoning the smaller fairies in bottles? Do you not like your minions?
Duke is making excellent use of the water walk and boots combination, getting through Zor's domain very quickly. Toadette, unfortunately, is doing the bomb jump, attempting the pixel perfect bomb jump placement, which gives you 2 pixels to work with rather than the boot dash assisted version, which gives you 6. But she does pick up ether.
And is going to take the death to refill her health.
So Duke, having just gotten his life lessons and not too much value, seems to be back on track in Dark World, and he's opting for the southern route for the Dark World Hype Cave.
Alright, let's see how Hype's feeling today. I've noticed that this place has been pretty good in B29. Usually. I say as we get a big 20.
Toadette is not proceeding with Skullwoods. Looks like she's decided to come back and do that later.
Yeah, and that's what we get for...
It's a pendant, I didn't notice that.
That's what we get for talking up Hype Cave. So, nothing of value there. 5 items manages to give us nothing.
So I had not looked at the Dark World map status. Skullwoods being a pendant is definitely not something that you're going to struggle with 5 Hearts, Scream Mail, and Fighter Sword.
No, not at all. Unless there's... You're just going to come back here later. If it's required. And only if, you know, pedestal is required will that be the case. Alright, digging game. Can we get less than, like, 20-something for once?
So, Voidburn, where do you think the next progression item will be?
Well, if I had to guess, probably Thieves Town.
You can't say digging game because you just found the sword there.
I was tempted. I was tempted, but I'll avoid being facetious today.
I would also lean towards Thieves Town now that Digging Game has been exhausted as an option.
They are going to enjoy finding that Master Sword, though. It makes fighting stuff a lot easier, and it puts them one sword closer to getting tempered.
It looks like rather than opt for a Mirror to Light World and then North Dark World check, he is going all the way to East Side Dark World and doing a Pyramid check.
As I've learned, always check Pyramid.
Toadette is doing the Southern Dark World check in reverse order, but they will end up at the same spot.
Well, nice health refill for Duke. Not quite what he was looking for, but it seems since he's picking up pieces of heart, he's definitely feeling that he needs a bit more health before tackling further dungeons.
Duke has decided to make the trip up the Catfish. I guess there's really no good time to route this in, so he's getting it done now during his pyramid routing.
Okay, I have to ask, if the best sword is in the top 5 list of swords, what's in the 5th spot? Okay, what if fighter's in 5th spot, what's in 1st then? Bugnet?
Oh, Catfish gave Duke a bomb, and Duke gave Catfish a bomb right back.
I mean, that's basically what you do.
Since he hasn't saved and quit, looks like he's decided that he's going to go to Pod next.
The homeless Dark World guard just getting in the way.
Pod, being a pendant, isn't necessarily the place that you absolutely want to go, but they do have all the items that they need to full clear it. And there aren't too many other places they can check at the moment, so it's probably the most item-dense place that they have available.
Unfortunately, is a pendant though, but it's also V29.
If they find progression, they may just decide just to save and quit out rather than complete it.
I'm actually curious why they haven't gone to Thieves Town yet, because I don't think they've got hammers, so they can check the downstairs, and they've got everything else they need. So,
well, Toadette did open it, but I did not see her go in. Duke, I don't believe, has gone up to there. Oh, that is an unfortunately placed death for Toadette. There's not going to be a good opportunity to route Catfish back in.
No, that is a large amount of time lost. But fortunately, if she ignores it, that's not actually going to be a time loss because Catfish has nothing good. So
yeah, we mirror at the
wow.
place that you want to use the mirror.
The dungeon that calls for it the most.
Yes, we know Catfish wasn't needed, but if she finds herself searching for go mode items, that might be something that she has to route in later on.
Yeah, and it's going to be very unfortunate if she takes time to head back up there, just because we know that it's nothing, but again, she doesn't, so.
Looks like she is going back into Thieves Town, so we're going to our first significant diversion into both Pod and Thieves Town for each of our runners. We know that Pod so far definitely has had progression in the mirror that will unlock the Tower of Hera and via the hammer all of the East Death Mountain items.
Unless they get the hook shot. If they find the hook shot somewhere accessible, technically speaking, the mirror isn't actually required for progression because they'll be able to access hair from the top of East Death Mountain.
Exactly. Both the mirror and the hook shot are equally progression based on their current inventory.
It'll be interesting to see if that happens because we might end up with a seed where one of the runners just never picks up mirror if Toadette just gets what she needs to keep running through crystal dungeons.
With Swamp being a pendant, that is a definite possibility.
It still, of course, hinges on nothing being in Swamp, which not necessarily a good thing to bet on, but.
Given that mirror was in the very first chest in pod, though, I think that it's likely she'll make a dip in here at some point, unless a lot of other progression ends up lining up very nicely.
Yeah, at this point, she'd basically be needing to find a hook shot in here to justify not checking pod at some point. What are we actually missing from Go mode at this point, actually? Lamp, hook shot, and ice?
Go mode, we're missing hook shot, ice rod, at least one medallion, the lamp.
It's going to be really silly if they're both ether.
There's still plenty of items left that it's not worth skipping any chests at this point.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm the type that just feels you should clear everything all the time, but I was just curious as to what it is we're actually guaranteed looking for. Of course, the medallions, until we actually go and look, we don't know.
Of course, mitts. So there's at least 5 things there.
Oh yeah, mitts. I'm so used to just having those. Definitely plenty of opportunity for that mirror to be actually required, though. So
I do tend to include lamp as a go mode item because for me personally, it's a go mode item. If Mire is required, which it is in this case, but they definitely could skip it. We've seen both players do dark rooms. The Mire dark rooms, a little bit harder than the Eastern dark rooms. I don't know what their skill level is at with that, but it's a possibility they could do the entire seat without it.
I personally just count it as a go mode item. It's technically part of the logic required. I mean, by that argument, Flippers is also, a go mode item. Hey, speaking of lamp, hi.
Well, that solves a lot of problems right there. That routing is actually going to work out well for Toadette, finding that lamp before pod, if she decides to head into the dark portions of pod.
All right, time for a green mail 6 heart blind fight. Yeah, technically speaking, if you can hover, hookshot is not required for this seed. Ooh, Toadette getting low on health and none of the invincibility items or potions. This doesn't look good. Ugh, no.
Unfortunately, only being able to take 3 hits, does make that a difficult fight, but if she doesn't do it now, it's very easy to get back to later.
I believe... Oh, sorry.
She is going for the second attempt.
So I believe you can light all 4 of those torches in T-Rock while hovering, but you also don't actually need hookshot to do that room if you got fire rod, so...
Toadette is making good use of her knowledge of where the hidden bunny beams are to powder a bunny beam and get a full fairy.
Ugh. Duke taking... Oh, no. Fairy. Here we go. Admittedly, the siege is being kind of mean to the runners at the moment.
This has been a very low health, low safety seed, which is, it's rough. But Toadette coming back in here with sword beams, it's just careful that that's something that I don't think she had last time.
One of very few places sword beams is, nice. Unfortunately, getting bodied by blind there and taking another hit. No. It was a good attempt, but...
It's a good attempt, but unfortunately took that hit. So that making the decision to exit out and come back a little bit later when she gets some more progression.
I'm not falling for that one, Walther. Unfortunately, blind is a fairly difficult fight, especially when you've got low health and, well, I'd say I'm just gonna go with low health because the fireballs don't care what tunic you've got.
Well, Toadette has decided to head back in and make a third attempt. Duke has decided to do, looks like I don't know if he's found both items or if he's looking for an item or if has decided to make the multi-level attempt.
Well, he gets to check Ped first, so if this is something, he gets to immediately head in there and it's arrow storage. Unfortunately, Toadette losing sword beams. But blind gonna...
5 hearts in the phase 3. That's pretty good.
Ooh, the laser.
Got hit by the laser beam.
And that was Skullwood's item number 2 for Duke, so he's out of there.
I wonder if Toadette feels that this is the only progression at this point.
She might. Might be extremely hesitant to head into pod and... Alright, let's see sword beams again. Phase 1 done. Unfortunately, the head popping off, absorbing the Samaria block, so back down to good old Cuttery. And unfortunately, just getting bodied by fireball. Yeah. This is a really, really difficult fight with only 6 hearts.
It's even harder if you aren't able to kill him the first time and you don't get that positioning advantage with him already starting at the top of the room. Duke is making the northern Dark World checks. using his mirror to get Graveyard Ledge in combination with the boots and the two Bong Rock locations. He also did pick up Bombos on the Bomber Cave ledge. So he's got very good chance now to get into both of the required Misery Mire and Turtle Rock dungeons.
Yeah, as it sits, I'd say Duke has the advantage. Not necessarily an insurmountable lead, given that this is rando, and all it takes is one item being somewhere silly. But a definite advantage at this point. Graveyard Ledge this time having nothing. Did Toadette not check? Oh no. Yeah, that's right. Once again, we find out Hyrule practices the grand tradition of putting people's body hearts in jars, or body parts in jars when they die. So, finding a heart in King's Tomb.
Well, now that you mention it, that makes finding a piece of a heart really creepy.
Reminds the Zelda game. Have you played Majora's Mask? Everything's creepy. All right, Toadette making the fake flippers play. Going straight up to Zora here.
Just be careful, as you said in this mode. If you do take a hit while fake flippering, it's an instant death.
Which makes us really nervous when that Zora pops up right there in front of you. Oh.
And an instant death is better than a soft block, but it's still very unfortunate to have.
You can still get the soft block too, just not from damage. If you misjump, from the hobo spot, you can screen transition before you land in the water, and then bad things happen to the game.
I might be mistaken, but I don't believe that death is something that you can come back with fairy. I think that it ignores fairies.
I believe so, yeah.
Because it's not intended so much to punish you as it is to avoid permanently breaking the game.
It's far better than having to go back to the last time you saved. Alright, Duke making his check in Thieves Town. Fortunately has a fair few more hearts here.
Duke he has the health advantage, but more importantly, he has bottles, so he definitely could always go out and purchase potions. Mirror, port to 2, pick up some potions if he needs to.
And what with having both the mirror and the flute, that's really, really convenient to do at any time, even from the Dark World. It's a little bit of a time loss, technically speaking, but it's less of a time loss than dying horribly, so... Alright, let's see where Toadette goes from here. Meanwhile, Duke is going to opt to clear out the back of Thieves Town. Absolutely makes sense, just because, again, it's a crystal dungeon. You need to finish it sooner or later, so might as well make the attempt while you're here. Meanwhile, Toadette choosing to... Ooh. Duke tried for the God Pixel, but one of the whatever those are got in the way. I guess we call them Patrick stars. So let's see if Toadette is going to do I'm not sure what she's going to do here, actually. Might go back up to Skullwoods and look for the last item if she didn't find it earlier. No, that's not true. You can totally bonk. You can still bonk with Cape. Hook is always required. Well, not okay. Yeah, I guess for all dungeons, you're correct. Sorry. All right, so unfortunately, Toadette's not going to find anything of value back here. Another heart is probably going to be welcome, though, especially given that blind is still there and still needs to be smacked at some point. Duke getting their lamp.
My question at this point is whether Toadette is not aware that she has access to Pod, or is deciding not to go there for routing purposes.
It is kind of a mentality to avoid a lot of Pendant dungeons if possible, and unfortunately in this case Pod's actually got nice stuff in it and Skullwoods has nothing, so can't really blame them for saying I'm going to do one Pendant and not another.
No, there's times where I know a lot of runners don't realize that they can get to a certain place.
Yeah, that is a possibility. Pod is a really easy access with the hammer and the power glove, though, as opposed to having to flippers your way over. Oh, green rupee on blind. So all that issue from blind is ultimately just going to be a green rupee in the long run.
Well, that'd be unfortunate. It looks like Toadette is deciding to go ahead and attempt the Mathila fight.
Getting grabbed out of the hole.
It does look like she's farming the magic pots. So if she goes in there with close to full magic, that is enough to take out Mothula with 8 fire rod shots. And you can get in there fairly easily with 7 at least.
This is one of those rooms that's really, really good to have Bombos in because you just kill everything in here instantly. Nice full magic drop there. But unfortunately losing a lot of health, and that's not good leading up to the moth.
No, there's the bunny beam here that she can powder.
Alright, Ether Tablet, what do you have for us? 10 arrows.
Unfortunately, that mini Moldorm got her before the bunny beam. It's an unfortunate position. Those mini Moldorms can be very difficult to move around.
Yeah. They just bounce wherever they want, and they don't care where you're trying to go.
Now, the mummies are stunnable with the boomerangs, and the stun prize, we know is a full magic pot. Unfortunately, I don't believe Toadette has checked the stun prize yet, but that's something that would be very useful in this particular situation.
Yeah, would allow getting a full refill in basically the last room before Moth. Alright, here comes either primarily a Master Sword or a primarily Hammer Moth fight. This fight is always tense. Even when you're well equipped, this is still can be a problem because just like blind, the spikes always do one-hearted damage. Ooh.
Well, she was taking the right approach. When you're doing this low percent, you know the key is just be patient, wait for the good opportunities, and she was, but unfortunately the spikes in the conveyor belts just did not have good pattern.
Yeah, sometimes you just get like an alternating wall of spikes coming at you and say, I can't dodge this. This is like Thieves Town God Pixel level of dodging spikes. Hera seems to be taking its time in providing items. I'm not actually sure if we've seen one yet. I think we did. He's going to clear the dungeon anyways, though, just because, again, it's another crystal. And this actually unlocks the Pyramid Fairy.
They've been getting quite a few pieces of heart, but I think at this point both runners would be happy with a blue mail upgrade.
Yeah, some sort of tunic would be nice. Alright, Toadette, where are you going? Unfortunately, still not to pod, which at this point is looking like it's required. Because blind doesn't have well, the hook shot, basically.
Looks like Duke is going to be doing a hammer Moldorm fight, which is 3 hammer hits, and gives the advantage of skipping Moldorm's fast movement phase.
I don't think Moldorm actually wants to fight him at the moment.
Yes, most bosses don't have the ability to opt out of a boss fight like Moldorm does.
Oh man.
Unfortunately, yes, the middle hole there. 2 fours. That's just disrespectful. I mean, if a boss kills you, that's one thing. If he just decides that he doesn't even want to bother with you, then that's just wrong.
Trolldorm is a boss that should be threatening to knock people down, not Garland. He's much better at it.
Toadette is heading into blind again.
1 or 2 more hearts this time. Still a difficult fight, but Moldorm throwing a temper tantrum.
She got through the first 2 phases without taking any damage. She's in a very good position for phase 3.
Blue tunic from Trolldorm. The boss that basically ignores your health, giving you the improvement to health-based survivability.
One more hit. There we go. So that finishes blind. Good job.
Unfortunately, that green rupee is not going to do much for them in the long run. So, meanwhile, we're still not getting progression in Hera.
No progression in Hera, but we're getting our first look an hour in at the east side of Death Mountain. Only the light world at the moment, but we have Spiral Cave and Paradox Cave, so there's quite a few items here. Hopefully we'll get something.
I think at this point we've got to see an item here. Because
red rupee is an item.
I mean, yeah, okay. How about a progression item?
Fair enough.
Toadette took a small trip into Scold's there, but is taking the way around here for... I'm not sure what Toadette's. Heading back to Moss, perhaps?
So Duke falls up off the ledge.
And finds flippers. Could this be what it... Could this be the, early swamp chest?
Well, that puts all the flipper items that he's already done back into logic. Unfortunately, that didn't actually have any value for him.
Toadette unfortunately taking another death here. Wow, okay, I guess flippers is...
That is disappointing progression for Duke. That really only unlocks... It doesn't unlock Ice Palace without the mitts. It kind of forces him into Swamp at this point.
Oh yeah, time for that no hookshot swamp.
Well, this seed wants you to spend a disproportionate amount of time in pendant dungeons that don't yield anything.
Yeah, Pod's the only one that's yielded something so far. We're probably going to see the Pyramid Fairy first, though. It would be kind of silly going into Swamp, leaving this unchecked. I have no idea where he's going now.
Well, he didn't have Mirror when he made the South Dark World check, so I expect he's going to do his Cave 45 check.
Yeah, that's fair.
He'll also probably route in Bombos after this, which he hasn't done yet either. Now that he has the Master Sword. I have to applaud our runners for maintaining their calm. I think that I probably would have broken out quite a few more Rage Slashes an hour into the seed at this point.
Man, I Rage Slash when everything's going fine anyways. It's just fun when you're standing there. Alright, so here comes the big bomb from... Oh. Ah. Getting
Mothula wins again.
Yep, getting a lot of good damage in, but...
That was a close Mothula fight. Most of those fire shots did land that I believe did count as damage, avoiding knocking Mothula back into spikes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that was maybe 1 or 2 hits away, and that's a really, really unfortunate time to lose that fight. This fight, like Blind, also gets harder when you die. Silver arrows in Pyramid.
Not technically a progression item, but still early enough in the game that it can have value. With a low health seed like this, having silvers on a fight like Vitreous, can make a substantial difference.
I love Silver Arrow Vitreous. Just after fighting it without silver arrows, it's so much nicer when you've got silvers.
I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing Green Mail, Master Sword, and Vitreous, and Silvers is what pushes them over, being able to complete it.
Well, Duke doesn't have to worry about that because Moldorm actually give us a blue mail, so he's good at the moment, but well, I don't want to say good because Vitreous can still kill you with blue mail in like 3 hits because it's Vitreous.
Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't notice, and this was yellow, but I just thought that was the color, the tint.
Yeah, he actually got the yellow mail. Alright, Toadette versus Mothula.
Duke finds another bottle on the Bombos tablet. Unfortunately, Toadette takes another death to Mothula.
The Moth is not being cooperative for her at all. And unfortunately, this isn't actually going to turn anything up either, because it is unfortunately a pod at the moment where she needs to go.
The lack of a bottle for her is making these decisions extremely difficult. You can see how much time she's spending having to farm these small magic pots every time she comes back in here. The lack of stun prize knowledge or a bottle is, I can see, definitely adding to the frustration of this particular fight. It's not an easy fight to begin with, but not being able to have full magic makes it even harder.
Yeah, it's one of those fights that a lot of people will wait for a lot of different things before doing this, and even with a good setup, it can still be challenging. Especially those times where the moth just decides, I'm going to sit in the corner, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes it's the only progression item, the only possible path forward, and you have to push through. In this case, we know that pod has the progression.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's the mindset that Toadette is in at the moment. Is this has got to be progression, and that's why she's putting so much time into trying to kill the moth. And unfortunately, it's ye old V29 pendant dungeon shenanigans.
Looks like she's deciding to save and quit and pick another option at this point.
I'm really hoping she takes that path over to pod now.
If she finds, there we go. We got Titan's Mitt and Swamp Palace. So Swamp was a required pendant.
Of course, another pendant dungeon you need to go into. Toadette heading to pod by the looks of it.
Well, hopefully, prior to going back into Swamp, she does a little bit more of the other options and picks up her blue mail. Sorry, I meant Skullwoods. If she comes back into Skullwoods with blue mail and the bottles, she shouldn't have any trouble finishing that. She came very close on multiple attempts. Just needs a little bit extra.
Meanwhile, Duke is heading straight left side here. Being thorough, clearing out all swamp just in case there's more stuff here.
As chat points out, we were discussing earlier whether mirror might not actually be required, and by blocking Titan's Mitts, that actually absolutely does make that one of the official gun mode items now. Patterns hold up, Swamp will have absolutely nothing else in it.
It's still not worth that risk, though.
Oh no, by no means. I was not suggesting that he leave. I was simply predicting that Swamp has nothing else in it.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. Don't worry. I just wouldn't expect many players to actually act on that. I know a lot of people have been burned one too many times by saying, what are the odds of another one being in here? He is done as far as hookshot is concerned. If there's something else in there, he needs to go get the hookshot to get it. The good news is, it's time for Meyer. I think. I didn't see what that actually was. I think that's Quake. Never mind, it might not be time for Meyer. But there's Ice Rod here, so you know, that's fun. Oh no, is it T-Rock time?
I wasn't able to get a good look at the medallion, and I can't quite make it out on the tracker.
I think it was Quake, but I didn't get a good look.
Well, considering that they have everything but Quake, it's probably Quake.
We'll find out. If it's something that can be accessed, he'll probably do it. Yeah, he's heading back over here, so I'm guessing it's something he can access. That looks like it was Ether. Oh yeah, totally Ether. Alright.
Toadette is continuing to make her way through Pod, collecting items. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get any key progression here, but these are quite a few locations that she can cross off our list.
Was Ether in Skull Woods? Where was Ether? I know one of the items. Of course. Yep, that's all three pendant dungeons required then. Naturally.
All 3 pendant dungeons require that you went like 20% into them.
This is a silly seed.
Well, Toadette just picking up a blue potion, and more importantly, the bottle to refill things with. That will probably give her the ability to complete any of the remaining bosses, even if it does require a trip to the potion shop.
And also picking up the cape, which unfortunately would have been fantastic for fighting blind.
So I'm not particularly good at doing this, paying attention to the go mode and screaming it out when it happens. But assuming that Duke has the pendant he needs for Turtle Rock, I think that's everything. Once he gets hookshot, I think he'll have everything he needs.
I believe so. Oh, nice fairy drop there too. And not like he wasn't about to powder one, but
I won't be surprised at all if his next trip is directly to Turtle Rock. He can finish that dungeon without the hookshot, and there's a decent chance that he'll find the hookshot while he's there.
it'll also make it possible to know whether he needs to go find Quake or not. Because if he checks T-Rock and it's not Quake, then he just knows hookshot and I'm done.
Either way, he'll pick up 6 items on Dark Death Mountain.
Oh yeah, nice bundle. Well, still needs a hookshot for Hookshot Cave, but still what, 3 outside it? And then oh god, there's like 6 in T-Rock as well if you count the Mimic Cave.
Yeah, I've seen hookshot in Hookshot Cave many times.
Oh, it can absolutely be there. There's no reason not to check the first chest in Hookshot Cave if you're looking for it.
It's a cruel place to put it, but it can be there.
I am fortunate in having never had that in one of my seeds. And now that I said that, it's going to happen next time. Alright, Toadette going all the way through to Helmasaur.
Toadette does not want to have to make a second trip to Pod.
If Helmasaur actually... I'm not even sure if Helmasaur can have an item. I'm not sure what the item count in here is. Needs to be very careful. Might want to pop that potion. Oh no.
And that's
Right.
an unfortunate death.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's about as much time loss as you can have on Helmasaur, because I think they were, or I think she was all of 1 or 2 arrows away. Taking a run around in Mire here to get a small key. Mire giving out small keys, what a surprise. And some more love.
Duke finally breaks the second row of heart containers.
Oh my god. 121 for a second row of hearts. The seed would definitely be a challenging one for a fair few runners. Just between the green mail and the relatively sparse heart count.
Absolutely. Fortunately, Toadette will be picking up blue mail pretty soon, and you know that will. I hit the wrong button there. The blue mail, will essentially double her heart count, and from that point on, she should be in a much better situation. Do you know whether an item was on Helmasaur? I did not count the items.
I didn't either, so I have no idea whether Helmasaur's actually got an item.
Well, I'm eagerly awaiting chat to let us know.
Well, there's your answer.
Thank you, Songloaf. I appreciate that.
How did that powder hit that anti-fair? Alright, Silver Arrow Vitreous.
I guess Powder has a bigger hitbox than the hammer does.
Oh, it absolutely has a bigger hitbox than the hammer.
So it looks like Toadette was trying to set up the coffee break mode, where you hit the switch while you're standing on the blocks and it gives you invulnerability. Unfortunately, it was a little bit off and is 1 hit away, so it needs to be very careful.
Yep, this next room.
And yeah, what you don't want to see when you're 1 heart away is 3 mini Moldorms running around.
And a full magic drop.
It's unfortunate that she gets full magic drops in a room that has a full magic pot.
Oh. That should probably, yep. Boop, just gonna take a death warp here. Might as well get the free health refill.
Duke was just cleaning up Desert a little bit, checked Gina's cave, didn't find anything of value.
Looks like they might be going ice.
Yeah, Char Rock has more item density, And ice is a little bit easier to complete with the hookshot, but it is a crystal, and he's going to have to come back here. Maybe hoping that if he finds the hookshot here, or the last medallion, then he can make one final trip to Death Mountain and not have to make 2 trips.
Yeah, I can absolutely understand coming here. Plus, everybody just loves clearing ice. It's a great dungeon to full clear, a lot of fun. No, wait. I meant desert. Ice is terrible. But again, with missing an item and the potential of being able to do a single trip up to well, Death Mountain in general, not just Turtle Rock, it's absolutely worth coming in here and taking a look.
It's actually tough to say. I mean, you know, the second trip up to Turtle Rock, or the potential of being able to go mode ice without checking anything is, I think it's pretty close, tossed up there. I don't think that there's any one option that is demonstrably better than the other.
Song, no, don't say it. I see what you're doing there. Moldorm continuing the fine tradition of pushing people off ledges.
Unfortunately, she already had 2 hits in on him. You will need to restart that. Moldorm has been frustrating both of our runners equally today.
Duke gets the Ice Palace bomb jump.
Toadette finishes Moldorm off on the second attempt. No trouble at all. Very well done. And gets that much needed blue mail.
I'll admit, the first time I heard of the Ice Palace bomb jumps acronym, I was like, why would you freeze a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Like, that... Why?
I think... Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, go ahead. I'm just being dumb.
No, I was just saying that I'm going to have to remember to ask Toadette you know, how she felt about the level of health and safeties that have been available. I imagine that getting the blue mail just gave her a significant confidence boost for the rest of the run. There's a text box that Uncle can say that red mail is for cowards. But I do not subscribe to that philosophy. I am all for getting red mail as early as you can.
I mean, I have no issues with being a coward, so if he feels that way, then sure. I don't care. I'm taking the red mail if I find it.
Well, I just think about how far the uncle got in green mail, and it's not that far.
That's fair, yeah. He had that. He could have had that if only he had red mail.
He died to rain. There were no enemies in between his house and where he died.
I don't know, maybe he ran headfirst in one of those gold guards' shields. Duke popping blue potion to ensure magic to finish off Cold Stare here. One more to go. And done.
Better safe than sorry. You can always get a new potion. Duke very aggressive in that Cold Stare fight. You can stay at the very top of that screen and not get hit by any of the ice blocks. But he had the fire rod, he had the potion, and he just went all out and obliterated Cold Stare.
All right, going back in for, I believe right side was skipped, so...
Yes, skipping going straight to Cold Stare isn't something that you see that often. because there's so much of Ice Palace that you have to repeat in order to check the right side. You typically see it if there's only one item left sometimes. So that was an interesting choice. But he did very well on the Cold Stare fight itself.
It's an understandable play, because if Cold Stare decides to drop the hook shot, then you're just like, okay, fantastic, I'm just going to leave now, bye. It's the same general rule for Swamp Palace's left side. If you've only got one item to go, you might as well just clear the dungeon the fast way and go back in afterwards if the boss doesn't drop what you need.
Absolutely. Having the key will give him a quicker right side access. Did you notice whether or not he checked the iced tea room? I did not see that.
I didn't notice either, so I guess we're going to find out.
Toadette checking Bombos. Making her way over there.
Did this get checked earlier? If it did, I don't think it was anything.
Yes, Duke checked it. It was nothing important.
Well, I'm sure some people disagree with pee bottles being unimportant, but for progression.
Well, I can admit that I forgot what it was and just gambled that it was nothing important because, you know, probability. But yeah, bottles isn't bad.
Alright, 2 more chests on right side of ice. Meanwhile, Toadette checking Big Bomb. Going to be glad to find the silvers, but not going to give them the progression they want. And I'm guessing that's all 3 items, because Duke is mirroring out.
I think she'll feel more comfortable having the silvers. There's still several places where she can take advantage of using it, and you know, it's. I think she probably would prefer a tempered sword, but you know, silvers, it's going to give her a confidence boost. Having some ranged weapon with some decent killing power that doesn't consume magic. Magic has really been the issue so far.
Yeah, and unfortunately half magic is still nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Duke benefited from that early knowledge of the stun prize, and he's been getting magic pots left and right.
Almost not benefiting from that ball guy's text. That was close. Oh no, if Hookshot isn't in T-Rock, this is going to be like a seed earlier where Gomo didn't technically involve the bow. Having to pick between going into GT without your Go mode item or not is a really difficult decision to make.
Well, the hookshot can absolutely be in Ganon's tower.
And it's got a pretty high chance of it too, because there's 23 chests in there. Oh no! They can't access the left side without it, so it's a significantly smaller number for GT.
Toadette picked up her 10 bomb pack from the catfish and declined to throw any back.
Man, that would be terrible, going in there without Hookshot and being able to climb the entire gauntlet because Big Key is on right side.
Looks like now that she has the blue mail and the potion, is going to opt to finish off Mothula.
Oh, there's Hookshot. Never mind, crisis averted. We're good.
Well, that officially puts Duke into Go mode.
It's an hour and 35 minutes in, but we have achieved go mode, so he's just going to be clearing up Turtle Rock as quickly as possible and making his way straight over to GT. So the play on ice, while a little technically could have been done in go mode and been fine, he didn't know that, so it was a really, really good play to do it in that order.
Time-wise, an hour and 35 in, he only has Turtle Rock to do. He's already up here, so it's a quick jump over to GT. It should probably be about an hour and 50 minutes or so total, which is not too bad at all. Now he doesn't have the knowledge that he's significantly ahead at this point, so he may feel behind, but he's actually in a very good position.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to feel a bit behind getting into go mode at like the hour 36 or hour 35 mark, but at this point we can say that Duke absolutely has the lead here because there's no hunting for that hook shot. It's right here, so it would take something absolutely catastrophic for Toadette to catch up, unfortunately. And nobody wants that to actually happen because well, Chomps, please.
Nobody wants something catastrophic to happen.
There's the good and entertaining types of lead changes, and then there's the really, really unfortunate ones that you don't actually want to see happen. And unfortunately, when it comes to a lead like this, yeah, it's the latter, not the former. So having to redo Chain Chomp Room because unfortunately didn't get the chest beforehand, and even with Blue Mail, Chain Chomps just don't care. They will kill you really, really hard.
Well, he used the cape and boomerangs for his initial attempt, so he definitely was taking a safe approach. I think the Chomp just caught him at an unexpected angle.
As they're prone to doing.
There's absolutely no shame to dying in the Chain Chomp Room.
No, they can kill you even with red mail.
You can see the difference that extra protection and safety made for Toadette. First attempt, Mothula had no trouble at all.
Unfortunately, still not gonna pay out at this point. Needs to make her way over to what's it called? Bumper Cave to pick up the Bombos medallion because that's needed to get into T-Rock. Needs to go pick up Ice Rod from wherever Ice Rod was at. Question mark. And at that point,
Swamp was the big progression. That was the mitts, I think.
Yeah, still needs the mitts.
But okay, thank you. Ice Rod is Meyer Shed. If I was Toadette, though, I would go back and kill Mothula just out of spite, if for nothing else.
I mean, she's probably feeling that this is basically over at this point, unfortunately, due to some of the challenges with earlier fights. So spite is fun at that point. Duke deciding to go outside.
This is a normal decision. I mean, I doubt he's going to go into Mimic Cave, but he wants to check the big chest in case it does have a small key, rather than have to backtrack and do this over again. Though, of course, the big key would be needed first.
Oh, he didn't go check the big key chest. Okay.
He skipped So I'm not laughing at him. I just think it was funny that the big key was in the vanilla big key chest.
It happens from time to time. T-Rock is that dungeon you actually have to really pay attention to when you get the big key, because if you find it in one of the earlier chests, you can be like, okay, that island's useless. I just need to pick up that one from the pokey, and I can basically just skip Laser Bridge. Almost guaranteed, I think literally guaranteed, actually, if you get the big key earlier. But unfortunately, that one time it's not there. You're going to have to spend that key. You're going to have to get the big key. You're going to have to find that other one to get past Laser Bridge.
Well,
Good news is,
even if you skip the vanilla big key chest, Laser Bridge can still have a small key that you'll need, but you know it reduces the probability.
would it? Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But skipping that chest is common practice if you already have the big key at that point and are in go mode.
Yeah. The only thing it's going to be is an item, which if you're in go mode, you don't need, or another small key.
That is fortuitous finding for the mirror shield, though. This is the one place
Oh,
that
no.
I wouldn't use it.
Not enough magic.
You shouldn't have to go that far to find something to stun. There's a bunch of little guys in the room on the right.
Can the blobbies be stunned?
I'm gonna find out.
I know the hookshot kills them instantly.
Yeah, I don't know about the boomerang. There we go.
Nice. Good to know.
Game knowledge paying off again for Duke.
So Toadette going to get her Titan's Mitts in here. Continuing on the progression.
I expect that she'll most likely full clear this dungeon. Just having, well, full clear up to the point where she can't progress hookshot block. She'll get everything she can.
Yeah, we'll probably check left side and then bail when obviously can't make it any further.
I like Duke using the directional shield to back out of those.
And of course, it's the last one on the bridge.
This is a good choice, taking the safety door, just in case things go wrong.
Oh yeah, when you're doing hammer try next with normal magic, safety doors, not too much of a time loss for not having to take yourself.
Well, he may not necessarily do hammer trinex. Master Sword isn't really that much slower, but regardless, having that safety door, is definitely worth the time.
I'm the type that definitely just prefers hammer strat every time. Master Sword is block, please. Is doable, but I just find hammer is, I don't know, more reliable in a weird sort of way, despite the tinier hitbox. You spend a little bit less time with Trinex trying to beam you in the face.
He's got excellent positioning, making advantage of the hammer's better ability to hit when targeting from above. Unfortunately, the ice head did get ice on the floor.
The Firehead didn't actually die from those hits.
He may not have enough magic to finish this.
Depends on if the Ice Head feels like being the dodge master today. Nope. I believe he used his blue goo earlier. I'm not sure if he ever rebought it. I didn't see if he did.
He's been stocking up on fairies, so I think that's where all his bottles are.
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately, Trinex is one of those bosses where, you know, he can run out of magic instead of hearts.
Hammer Trinex is a fight that you absolutely have to spend a decent amount of time practicing. I have seen a lot of people. Normally, you know, people will attack the left head first, the ice head. Sorry, the fire head. But if you're doing hammer mode, prioritizing the ice one just to keep the floor clean of ice, you know, does make a lot of sense.
It's a little bit slower just because of running around the room and menuing, but it's. I think that hammer hit got negated again.
It's so difficult to maneuver once there's ice on the floor.
Trinex being extra pain today. Well, that's why he picked up the fairies. Can take a little bit more dangerous strats here.
Unfortunately, with that ice on the floor, it's the number of hits he can get in per fire rod shot rather than his health. That's the limiting factor here.
Got it.
Well done, very close. But one heart, it's gonna be close.
I think he's got another fairy though. I think he's actually got like 2 or 3 fairies from the room that's got 4 of them in T-Rock. Boink.
That's an unfortunate bounce back. That's got to be his last fairy. How many fairies does he have?
Might have 3.
I was expecting he would get a bottle of the fairies.
All right, so he's on to GT at this point.
Toadette just did a perfect bomb jump in Ice Palace.
This is the part where he starts not looking forwards to Master Sword Ganon. Going to check Hookshot Cave first, just to see if he can pick up that that tempered somewhere.
So here in the ALTTP randomizer channels, we do not run the guessing game bot, but anybody in chat who wants to guess the location of the Ganon's Tower Big Key 1 to 22, you can go ahead and do it. There's no prize other than internet fame, but you're welcome to play along.
So Hookshot Cave was basically the GT starter kit there. Red mail and tempered sword for Duke before going in there.
He's not going to regret that check.
Yeah, he's basically fully equipped at this point. You could get the butter sword, but it's really not necessary compared to how good tempered is. All right, GT, do you feel like being nice today? Are you gonna let these runners finish? Of course not.
Well, he finds a small key, so he is going to opt to progress on the right side.
Everyone is trying that bomb jump today because the bomb jump is fun. I don't know. 'Cause I didn't say they're the best. I will never tell you that bomb jumps are the best technique. I'll tell you that fake flipper is the best technique.
Ice Palace navigation is a little bit frustrating here without the hook shot.
Yeah, it can go...
She's getting through.
It really helps being able to pull yourself to objects and not have to run across.
Unfortunately, though, I don't believe she picked up... I think she used her blue potion, so she probably doesn't have any magic for this fight.
No bombos either for the reduced cost for breaking it.
She's proceeding, so I'm guessing... Oh, she does have a blue potion.
Alright, she's good then.
Alright, keep an eye on the right-hand side, and we'll get a chance to see Toadette's cold stare fight while Duke is climbing the tower.
Alright, so Toadette is on blue mail, so Cold Stare is a very dangerous fight still. Gonna release the bee. Not sure how I feel about attempting hammer with this few hearts and blue mail against Cold Stare.
Hammer's dangerous, but if she stays at the top and avoids the ice blocks and just takes her time, she should be okay.
Cold Stare is actually, all things considered, a relatively simple fight. It's just a case of doing it fast. And in a race, you obviously want to do it fast, so that's where a lot of the issues seems to come from.
Well, she's killed 2 puffs. The bee has killed 0 so far.
This is strange. I've normally known bees to like cotton candy. So Duke appears to be having a relatively good gauntlet so far.
It's 3 for Toadette, 0 for Cold Stare, and 0 for the bee.
That bee wants that crystal, though.
Did not earn that crystal. Looks like Toadette made the same routing decision of doing the ice double dip, going straight to Cold Stare.
Oh man, what's going on over there with... That's a strange graphical glitch. The rocks are turning into more Landmola's bits.
It really looked like he killed 4 Landmolas.
Okay, well... On to the Wizrobe Revenge Room.
Wizrobe slaughter rooms are some of the most fun to watch in the game. As Wizrobes do significant damage if they hit you, but they put all their points into attack and nothing into defense.
The polar opposite of Zelda 1, where they're just kind of overpowered. They've got a lot of health and they really hurt. That was a little bit close on Duke's part there. Not sure if he was intending to stop and wait for the doors to close. You do not want to head up that ladder at the same time the door is closing from the previous room.
Yes, despawning the dungeon is not a speedrunning strat, although I've never seen it actually happen.
I have, and it's one of those catastrophic things we were talking about earlier. I don't think it would have allowed catching up in this race, but I have seen it turn a race around before.
Toadette used an interesting strategy of using ether on the penguins and then smashing them with hammers.
Yes, I believe smashing a frozen enemy drops, or is guaranteed to drop magic, unless that's randomized too.
Unfortunately, they did not drop the magic.
Not sure if... I might be thinking of something else, so...
Frozen may be different than stunned.
That's a possibility, yeah. Oh, it's randomized like the stun pack. Okay.
Duke is having an excellent start to his Agatu.
Almost done already. Aga not being cooperative. There we go.
Triple and 3 singles. Very respectable fight.
And on to Ganon.
I don't know if he picked up any more fairies, but with the red mail, the tempered, and silvers, he should be okay, even if he does take 1 or 2 hits.
As long as he doesn't get a hug. Thank you, Ganon. We'll keep that in mind.
And then giving him the perfect positioning at the bottom to get those spins in.
Speaking of getting hugged.
Unfortunately, he's been a little bit aggressive there, taking the damage.
I think he's still got another fairy.
I'm sure this guy has a lot of fairies. Every time I think he's out of fairies, he has another fairy.
Well, we're about to find out. Oh, look,
Oh.
fairy.
Very good use of the hook shot to avoid most of those fire bats, but probably didn't care since he knew he had a fairy.
Alright, now that the fire bats phase is done, or that spinny circle of fire bats phase is done, this fight becomes significantly easier, especially with silver arrows.
Don't worry. One more hit, and I'll be in the phase 4.
I swear I know what the arrows are made of. It's not like it's writing their name or anything.
The AG arrows.
Yeah, we're just gonna call them the Argentum arrows.
And he gets a nice double.
Oh!
Oh, but falls.
He wanted that double so badly.
That's unfortunate. That was very nice double on the beginning of phase 4. Will not surprise me if he stops to pick up a fairy.
Nope, he doesn't want the fairy this time.
I just can't figure out these patterns. You know, when you pick up a fairy, when you don't pick up a fairy.
Well, it's basically whenever he feels like.
Toadette is making the check of the first accessible item in Hookshot Cave, which unfortunately is the only one that you can get without the hookshot, but it does manage to do it successfully using bombs.
She'll probably come back here after... Oh, is just checking Dark World stuff in general at the moment.
Yeah, so this is her initial trip up Dark Death Mountain.
All right, that's fair. Oh, that's right. You can't go into T-Rock because he has no bombos from Bumper Cave yet. All right, back in phase 3 on Duke's side. I'll admit I'm kind of curious as to why he actually fell there, because I'm pretty sure I've seen that kind of slash work out just fine before, but oh no. Oh no. Perhaps not holding. Oh, he might have been a little too close to the ledge. That makes sense. And that's GG for Duke. Ganon goes down after the 4th silver arrow.
Congratulations to Duke.
No Triforce. I don't think that's right.
And Toadette making the northern Dark World check and finding that Bombos top medallion. So she may head right back to Turtle Rock at this point.
Unfortunately, the Murder Dactyl doesn't want to actually let her in there.
Those Murder Dactyls are absolutely vicious. So we, I presume we will attempt to get Duke into the voice channel here for an interview shortly. In the meantime, we will continue to watch Toadette's race. Now that she has the medallions that she needs, she's going to continue getting the crystals.
Alright, meanwhile, Toadette is checking King's Tomb. Still looking for that ice rod, which is in Mireshed. So when she makes her way over there... Wait, is ice rod in Mireshed? I feel like I'm sticking my foot in my mouth all of a sudden.
Yes, both times we forgot, we've been corrected by chat that it is in Mireshed.
Okay. One of these days I'll remember where ice rods are.
I'm not going to give chat credit for reminding us this time because I remembered that they reminded us last time. So you only get credit once.
No, that's not fair. All right, well, unfortunately, it seems that Toadette has decided to not finish up the seed. I absolutely cannot blame them because the seed was really, really silly, and the starting was extremely rough. So a big thank you to her for putting up with this and allowing us to show it.
Yes, absolutely. I'll add my gratitude to Toadette for letting us stream the race. You know, it takes a lot of nerves to to play in front of a big audience. There were a lot of difficult fights, and she was very persistent. She found the items that she needed and knew where she had to go. So thank you very much to both runners for coming out tonight and giving us something fun to watch.
In the meantime, though, welcome, Duke.
Hey, thank you.
So that seed was a little bit unhealthy.
A little bit.
I mean, just a little bit.
Just a tiny little bit.
Just enough that Moss can kill you in like 3 hits.
Yeah. Luckily, I never had to go see Moth.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That was a rough one, and still pulling out a respectable time given how disparate everything was and how much the seed just wanted to kill everyone, basically, because...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprising that the seed basically forced you into every Pendant dungeon to find one progression item at the beginning of the dungeon. But then, it's... Do you feel confident leaving at that point?
Yes and no. Actually, I don't remember. What was the progression item that was in Skull? I don't remember there being progression.
It was Ether. Yeah, Ether.
Yeah. Pod was mirror.
Oh, okay, Ether.
Swamp
That's right.
was
Pod had mirror.
mitts.
Swamp had mitts. Oh yeah, that's right. And it had Ether. That's right.
Pod?
Because
Pod
Bombos
also-
was on the Pod had the cape too to get Bombos.
Long story short, the seed wanted to kill you and it wanted you to visit every dungeon, so it just wanted to kill you in every dungeon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there was not a lot of. I mean, it took a long time for you to break the 10 hearts. Red mail you only got right when you were entering Ganon's tower. It was the one thing that made a big difference for you is you found that the stun prize was a full magic pot very early. You utilized that in many cases where you were low on magic. And I think that the game would have been very different if you had not found the net. That's probably your most used item, capturing those fairies.
Oh my, yes. Yeah, I was like when I went through Turtle Rock first derp, I was like, okay, good. I don't have the big key. Crud, go back. Like, okay, good. I can mirror out of magic. Crud. Wait, there's enemies in that one room because I remembered the stun prize.
Oh, I never would have remembered that myself. Like, I didn't even know you can stun those blobs. I tend to hook shot everything, so they just die instantly to that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't hook shot them.
Very, very quick thinking on that one.
We were talking back and forth, and I kept telling Voidburn, I said, does he have another fairy? He can't possibly have another fairy.
He always has another fairy.
Yep. Nope, when I restocked up, I made sure to have 3, and I used 2 on ToadetteX, and then I used the last one on Ganon.
I'll admit, I was kind of expecting you to stop and pick up the one just out front of Pyramid, but you definitely felt like you had it that time. So
No, it wasn't that. I felt behind. The moment I fell, I was scared.
I was really confused with that fall because I was pretty sure I've seen people make that swing before and not get rebounded straight off the platform. So
I wasn't holding left. That's what happened.
Ah, okay.
I didn't want to risk hugging Ganon.
Well, unfortunately, your opponent ran into a number of issues with deaths. So you did have quite a significant lead at that point. And unfortunately, we aren't able to see her finish the race. But it was a very difficult race. The low health, all the unlikely pendant dips. It wasn't the most intuitive seed.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I'm just glad I actually decided to do the ped check before I did Skull, because I'm like, I'm gonna gamble. I made a few gambles that I honestly still think is questionable. The one major one is going after Cold Stare with having gotten 2 items with no key, but luckily he dropped a key, which made the right side easier. Darn that hookshot location, though.
Oh, yeah. So there was a seed earlier that almost had the same thing where it's like, do we go into GT without the hook shot if it's not here? Because we had one earlier that had that question with the bow, and it's like, well, GT has
Oh yeah, I saw that.
a huge number of items, but if it's not there, then you could. Hookshot is also extra scary because you can get to the entire top of GT and be like, okay, please be in the chest before Moldor.
Yep, I was actually going to scale the tower if I did not find Hookshot in T-Rock, and then I would have checked the Bonk chest in Hookshot Cave and then Super Bunny. And then I would have just said, okay, I'm going. Let's just do it. Because at this point, if I didn't have it, in my mind, I already lost. If I didn't have it. Because I know I skipped the Smith sequence. I skipped... What else did I skip? I skipped something else in the overworld. I just don't remember what.
I'm not sure. You're pretty thorough. Did you skip Catfish?
No, I did that. Did Zora. Maybe it was just Smith's left.
Yeah, I think it might have just been Smith sequence because you checked south of Grove before going into Swamp.
Yeah, I did that, and then I did Magic Bat when it became available.
Well, you get to advance to the 1-1 round next week. Do you have any final thoughts on the seed, or Voidborn? Do you have any other questions?
See, it was kind of fun. Kind of seemed linear to me a little bit, which is I kind of like those kind of seeds, but they're enough to throw you off to where it's like, okay, you need to really work on execution with the low health, because like we didn't get the 2 mail upgrades until way late.
Oh yeah, first one all the way up at Moldorm 1, and the other one was in the Hookshot Cave, which was basically the GT starter kit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Red mail.
Yeah, and of course I only dipped in there because I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a sword. I'm just gonna check this. I'm gonna check Super Bunny. Oh, tempered. I'm done. Let's go.
Well, you can see your collection rate of 159 that's pretty low.
Yeah, I think that's one of my lowest ones yet. I think I maybe had a 149 at one point, but that was just sheer dumb luck, I think. But it was like a previous version too, so I don't count it.
Well, if we don't have any other questions or comments, I believe we can begin to wrap this up.
Yeah, well, appreciate you guys commentating, appreciate the tracker and the restream, and everyone that's watching. Thank you.
Yep, GG to you. Thanks for putting on a good show, especially with a seed that just really wanted to kill you.
And GG to my opponent. Wish you well for your next round. Hope you make the bracket stage.
Yes, definitely a big thank you to Toadette for continuing to put up with that seed as long as she did. It was incredibly rough, and unfortunately, when you begin to fall a little bit behind in a seed like this, it just gets worse. So definitely a big thank you for sticking it out as long as she did, and I hope she has better luck in the future.
Absolutely. Congratulations again to Duke, and thank you to both Duke and Toadette for putting on the show for us. I posted links in Twitch chat where you can follow both Duke and Toadette. Also, thank you to our tracker, Merc249, our restreamer, Iceman F1, and thank you to my co-commentator, Voidborn Beast.
Thank you for joining me as well on this one.
There are 6 speed gaming channels, speed gaming 1 through 6, and 4 ALTTPR randomizer channels. There is schedules available. The links posted in chat. I encourage everybody to take a look at those other channels, find a race, or jump right in and play for yourself. There's 512 people in this tournament. If you start playing, you like the game, you can join in the fall tournament. It's a very fun game. I encourage everyone to give it a try. So thank you, everybody. And for me, that's good night.
Have a good night, everyone.